Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus. Thank you so much for being with us today. We're looking today at how river sediments going into the ocean really show a young earth. And this is something I've shared over the years since I learned about it, who knows when, probably into the early 90s, that people are like, that makes a lot of sense. Because like you've got the Mississippi River, obviously it's putting thousands of tons of silt into the Gulf of Mexico. And if you extrapolate this back just a few tens of thousands of years, that obviously there's going to be a much greater signature of silt in the Gulf of Mexico than currently exists. And you can do this all over the world. So let's read what Dr. Molenpaul says. Thanks for being here. Join us daily. And this is just a discussion starter book I use, Creation versus Evolution. He was a great scientist. I may mention a couple other things he mentions as well. So, river deltas, if a river delta, such as the base of the Mississippi River, which we mentioned, increases on an average of 1 mile every 16 years, and if the Earth is approximately 6,000 years old, then the delta would be about 375 miles long, which isn't impossible. However, if the Earth were billions of years old, the oceans would have been filled long ago. Now, I will say this as well, because of the flood, there may be some variation in that. So I would really date that from the flood, not from creation. And then sediments at the bottom of the ocean. It's estimated that 27.5 billion tons of sediment are being transported to the ocean every year. If this rate had continued for 4.5 billion years, the sediment at the bottom of the ocean would be much deeper than it is today. And that's just obvious. And then dissolved chemicals. The amount of any given chemical in the ocean divided by the annual increase of that chemical through river inflow will yield the time required to accumulate the chemical, assuming none was present in the ocean to begin with. And the inflow rate has always been the same. The most common chemicals in ocean water are the elements that make up salt, such as sodium and chlorine, obviously. Calculations using sodium and chlorine concentrations in the ocean show that the age of the Earth is far less than 5 billion years. Also, these calculations assume no salt in the original ocean. Couldn't God have created a saltwater ocean as well as a freshwater ocean? Also, I wrote a commentary on the book of Genesis, at least as part of the book of Genesis, and it could have something to do with the judgment of the flood, that fresh water is like pre-flood and salt water is judgment flood, and the fish would have been able to survive because salt and fresh water go to different levels. So the saltwater fish could have swam at one level and the freshwater fish at another level, and then most fish can survive in brackish type water of a mixture as well, at least for a limited amount of time. Like you'll hear about like dolphins going up river and stuff like that. We're here near the coast, so we hear about it, I guess, a lot. It seems likely if the sea creatures were to be saltwater fish that God would have made a saltwater ocean for them. So there's a lot there that sedimentation and chemicals really show a young earth, as well as sun decreasing and all this. He also goes into a lack of helium in the atmosphere, because we know we're losing helium. And then the lack of dust on the moon shows that the Earth is quite young as well as does crater creep on the moon, that we know that the craters are filling in at a certain rate. And if it was billions of years old, besides the recession of the moon that's gradually occurring, that we know that the craters are relatively young as well. And just so many evidences, even genetic entropy, that our genes are accreting small negative mutations with each generation. Couldn't last more than about 300 generations before the negativity in the genes, it wouldn't be functional. So God bless you. Love you. See you later. Bye.